Hi, and welcome back to Sacred and Profane. I am Terry Lynn.
And I'm Em.
And today we are going to talk about the archetype of the Priestess. And so this is the Priestess card in the Barbara Walker deck. It's also known as the Pappas. And there's a lot to be said about the Priestess. Modern day priestesses are alive and thriving, my friends. And, you know, priestesses are really known as, they serve the spiritual needs of the community. But we do this in many different forms. Sometimes it's presiding over sacred rites like marriages, or doulas, bringing babies into the world. Sometimes it's leading a yoga class. It can be it can look many different ways. But the thing about priestesses is that we're really in tune with the rhythms of nature. And we feel these rhythms inside ourselves and our own psyche, as well as see them all around us. And also the fact that we recognize the shadow as having as much relevance as the light. And having both of those being the conduit between the two worlds of shadow and light. And really going deep and diving deep within. There's so many myths that explain this, like the myth of Persephone when she goes down into the underworld to discover her true self, to discover her full capacity to love. And priestesses we thrive for that work. We're not afraid of that work at all. And there's so much to be said about clearing shame around the shadow, and I think you can brilliantly speak to that, Em.
Well, thank you. Right now we have the sun peeking behind these trees, and I am entering shadow as we speak. So the priestess is also really related to being connected and married to spirit, as you mentioned, or the Artemis archetype. One who is not afraid of the hunt and the quest and what she is so good at. And it's not just a she, it's a he. It's anyone that is integrating light and shadow. Is so clear about is that is first and foremost the goal is service of the whole, and willing to go into those places that are uncomfortable and to clear it. And so, for example, relevant current day issues like money or sexuality, sexual orientation, how shame can silence us and silence our power and silence our own truth. And so to have the courage to go into those areas and release ourselves through forgiveness and willing to look where it's not always comfortable and not always pretty, but to go with loving presence, then that can be released, and then that's where the true alchemy can happen, as we talked about earlier with the magician, which was the previous card. The priestess takes the magic of the magician but really skillfully applies it for alchemy for the greater good. So
beautiful. So a question for you guys: how do you see the priestess archetype show up in your life? Where are you really willing to discover and uncover your own secret intuition, your guides that help you in this life, that really allow you to fully express who you are without shame, without remorse? How could this archetype work for you?
Thank you.